It's 2 in the morning. You go into the bathroom, you turn the lights on, and you see it. A worm-like insect with dozens of legs slithering across your wall. Your instinct is to just squish it, but don't. That centipede eats up to 40 bed bugs a week, and it's the only thing in your house actually hunting them down. The house centipede carries two fears that most people have never thought to separate. The first is the legs, the creepy movement, and the insect's speed. Now, this is just an aesthetic and sensory response. The house centipede can reach 0.4 meters per second across a flat surface. That is fast enough to cross the average bathroom floor in under 2 seconds. The movement is irregular and unpredictable. It stops suddenly, reverses, vanishes. Every instinct the human visual system has trained to detect fast-moving animals with many legs fires at once. The response is almost impossible to override by knowing better. The second fear is more specific. Can it hurt me? This one has a real answer, and the answer is worth knowing precisely rather than approximately. House centipedes can bite. They deliver venom through modified front appendages called forcipules. A bite from a house centipede causes localized pain and swelling, roughly comparable to a bee sting, and fades within a few hours. No documented cases of serious systemic reactions exist in otherwise healthy adults. The forcipules of a house centipede are also not strong enough to pierce skin under most normal contact conditions. Bites are almost always the result of direct handling or accidental trapping against skin. The animal has no interest in biting you. It has no reason to. You are not prey. You are a large, warm obstacle it would prefer to avoid, which is exactly what it is doing every time it disappears behind the cabinet. The speed you find alarming is how it runs away from you. This matters because the fear response most people have to the house centipede leads to an immediate decision: kill it or call someone to remove it, and that decision eliminates the most effective nocturnal pest hunter in your home without replacing it with anything. So let's start with what this animal actually is, because centipede covers an enormous amount of biological territory that most people have never thought to explore. Hey, real quick, please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and like this video. It really helps me out. As I was saying, there are approximately 3,100 described species of centipede worldwide. They belong to the class Hylopoda and are divided into 5 distinct orders based on body plan, leg arrangement, and evolutionary history. Those 5 orders are Scutigieromorpha, Lithobiomorpha, Craterostigmomorpha, Geophilomorpha, and Scolopendromorpha. They differ significantly in how they look, how they hunt, where they live, and how dangerous they are to humans. The Lithobiomorpha are the stone centipedes, flattened and swift, found under rocks and logs across temperate regions worldwide. They are among the most commonly collected centipedes in biological surveys of European and North American soils, running between 1 and 3 centimeters, and they pose essentially no risk to humans despite being predatory. The Craterostigmomorpha are a tiny order of just 2 known species, both from isolated island habitats in New Zealand and Tasmania, and they are rarely encountered by anyone outside of professional entomology. The Geophilomorpha are the soil centipedes. Long and thin with up to 177 pairs of legs, they live below the surface and rarely appear in homes. They are the order you are most likely to expose when turning garden soil. Pale, thread-like, slow by centipede standards, and utterly harmless to human skin. Their ecological role in the soil layer is significant as predators of soil insect larvae and microarthropods, and their burrowing activity contributes to soil aeration in the upper horizons. Scolopendromorpha are the large tropical species. Scolopendra gigantea of South America can reach 30 centimeters. It has been documented killing and eating bats, frogs, mice, and small lizards. A 2005 study in Caribbean Journal of Science documented Scolopendra gigantea individuals hunting and consuming 3 species of bats in a Venezuelan cave, actively waiting near roost sites and attacking animals as they flew. If you have ever seen a viral video of an enormous centipede taking down something larger than most people would expect, it was almost certainly from this order. These are capable predators that deserve the caution their size suggests. The house centipede belongs to Scutigero. It is in a different order entirely from those large tropical species, and it is worth understanding what makes it unusual even within centipede biology. Scutigera coleoptrata is the species you are most likely to encounter in a North American or European home. Its body is 25 to 35 millimeters long. Its 15 pairs of legs, increasing in length from front to back, extend well beyond the body in all directions. The final pair on females is almost twice the body length. When it moves, all 30 legs operate in coordinated waves. The effect unsettles even people who understand exactly what they're looking at. What makes the house centipede stand apart from almost every other centipede species is its eyes. Most centipedes are blind or have only simple light-detecting organs that can barely distinguish direction. The house centipede has large, well-developed compound eyes, faceted eyes capable of detecting motion across a wide field of view. This is unusual enough in centipede anatomy that researchers have specifically noted it as a distinguishing characteristic of Scutigero. The eyes don't provide sharp resolution. They function more as motion detectors and shadow sensors, but they make the house centipede far more visually aware of its environment than a soil centipede, which is essentially navigating blind. There's another anatomical feature of the house centipede that is unique among all centipede orders. It has lung-like spiracles. Most insects and arthropods have spiracles they can open and close to regulate moisture loss. The house centipede cannot fully close its spiracles. This makes it highly sensitive to humidity and explains why it concentrates in basements, bathrooms, and areas near plumbing. Humidity is a hard biological requirement for this animal. A house centipede in a very dry environment will dehydrate and die. When you find one in your bathroom, it isn't there because it chose your bathroom specifically. It's there because your bathroom has water and air it can breathe without dehydrating. The hunting technique is where this animal becomes specifically interesting. The house centipede does not wait in webs or burrows. It actively stalks prey across surfaces. When it detects a target, it uses one of two documented approaches. It can jump directly onto prey, pinning it with its legs, or it uses a technique researchers have described as lassoing, throwing its long legs around the target in a sudden enveloping motion before the prey can react. It can also beat prey with its legs to disorient it before envenomating. In feeding studies, the house centipede showed the ability to distinguish between prey types and adjust its approach accordingly. It avoids insects that can retaliate effectively and retreats after delivering venom to dangerous prey, waiting for the venom to work before returning. The sensory system supporting this hunting is more sophisticated than the animal's size suggests. The antennae respond to both chemical signals and physical contact, giving the centipede a continuous read on its environment even in total darkness. The long legs act as mechanical levers, amplifying substrate vibrations far beyond what a shorter-legged body could detect. Research on Scutigera's mechanoreceptor structure has documented specialized organs called slit sensilla on the legs and body wall that register vibrations traveling through solid surfaces. A house centipede can detect a cockroach moving on the other side of a baseboard by feeling the tremor through the floor. The animal is not navigating your wall primarily by sight, it is navigating it by vibration, by chemistry, and by touch simultaneously, with vision functioning as a motion detection alarm rather than a primary navigation tool. It also has a built-in deception in its body plan. The house centipede's rear legs and rear antennae-like appendages are designed to look like its front. When it is at rest, you cannot easily tell which end is which. This is called automimicry. If a predator targets what it assumes is the head, it gets the wrong end. The animal can also shed individual legs through autotomy if one is grabbed. regenerating them through subsequent molts. Between the false head, the leg shedding, and the speed, the house centipede has layered its passive defenses as carefully as its active hunting strategies. Now let's talk about the venom. Not the house centipede specifically, but the story of centipede venom as a biological innovation, because this is where the scale of what you're dealing with becomes hard to fully take in. The venom system of centipedes evolved in the stem lineage of Chilopoda, the shared ancestor of all living centipede orders. The earliest fossils with forcipules, the modified front leg pair that delivers venom, date to approximately 400 million years ago and belong to the genus Crusolum, a member of Scutigieromorpha. This means the house centipede's ancestor was already venomous and already hunting when the first land plants were just beginning to take hold on what would become dry continental Earth. The molecular dating of the centipede lineage places the split between Scutigieromorpha and all other centipede orders at approximately 430 million years ago. To put that in context, the dinosaurs didn't appear until around 230 million years ago. The first flowering plants appeared around 140 million years ago. Humans branched from our last common ancestor with chimpanzees somewhere between 6 and 7 million years ago. The centipede's venom system is 430 million years old. It is the oldest extant venom delivery system of any terrestrial animal currently alive. It predates the venom systems of scorpions, spiders, and snakes. The forcipules themselves are not mouth parts. This is a detail most people get wrong. They are legs. The first pair of walking legs in the ancestral centipede were repurposed over evolutionary time into claw-like structures capable of gripping prey and injecting venom. A centipede doesn't bite in the way a snake bites. It stings in the way a bee stings, but with structures that started as feet. Every time a centipede subdues a cockroach in your kitchen wall, it is doing so with what amounts to modified toenails from 430 million years ago. Research published in journals including Toxins and PMC has documented that this ancient venom system evolved in parallel across the 5 orders in ways researchers describe as convergent. Each order has refined the chemistry of its venom independently while the delivery mechanism remained essentially consistent. The result is that centipede venoms today contain enormous chemical diversity. Hundreds of compounds across different orders, many of which have never been fully characterized. The compound that drew the most scientific attention in recent years is a peptide toxin called RHTX, isolated from the venom of the Chinese red-headed centipede, Scolopendra subspinipes mutilans. A study published in Nature Communications in 2015 identified that RHTX targets a specific ion channel in the human nervous system called TRPV1. This channel is normally activated by heat. The centipede's toxin binds to the outer pore region of TRPV1 and causes it to activate at normal body temperature, producing an immediate and intense pain signal indistinguishable from being burned. The centipede has evolved a molecule that makes its bite feel like fire by hijacking the exact mechanism your nervous system uses to detect fire. This discovery was medically significant not because of what RHTX does, but because of what the TRPV1 channel is. It is a validated target for pain management research. Understanding exactly how RHTX binds to it and what that binding does to the channel's behavior gives researchers a new molecular tool for studying pain pathways. A 2025 comprehensive review in PMC synthesized findings from 45 studies examining bioactive compounds from Scolopendra species and documented analgesic, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antifungal, anti-tumor, and neuroprotective activities across multiple experimental models. The venom venom system that evolved to hunt insects in the Silurian period is now being examined as a source of non-opioid pain treatments and potential anti-cancer compounds. A separate compound from the same species, known from its role as a factor Xa inhibitor, is being studied for potential anti-thrombotic applications. The Chinese medicine practitioners who prescribed dried centipede for convulsions and wound healing centuries ago were working with the right biological material without any means of knowing why. The cultural record of centipedes tracks closely with the fear they generate in most people, and in most cases, the cultures that had the most sustained contact with large species came away with the most complex responses. In traditional Chinese medicine, the centipede holds a position in a specific grouping of 5 venomous creatures known together as the 5 poisons. The others are the scorpion, the snake, the toad, and the spider. The grouping appears in medical practice, in protective imagery, and in decorative art going back several hundred years. The centipede's specific role in this system involves the liver and the clearing of toxins. It was prescribed for convulsions, epilepsy, stroke-related paralysis, skin infections, and wound healing. These are not random ailments. They cluster around the actual pharmacological properties that 2025 PMC research has since confirmed exist in centipede extracts, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and neuroprotective compounds with documented effects in laboratory models. The traditional practitioners couldn't have known the molecular mechanisms. They identified the effects. Centipedes used in traditional medicine across China and Korea were primarily Scolopendra subspinipes mutilans. These were dried, roasted, and pulverized for use in formulations. The practice continues in some areas of East Asia to this day alongside modern pharmaceutical development. This makes the Chinese red-headed centipede one of the most studied medicinal arthropods in existence, and the one from which the RHTX peptide was eventually isolated. In Japan, the centipede had a military identity. The Omukade, a giant centipede from Japanese mythology, was the messenger of Bishamonten, the god of warfare. Samurai incorporated centipede imagery into armor, helmet designs, and family crests. The choice was deliberate. A centipede, if you cut off one section, does not die. It continues, it adapts and survives. For a warrior culture, this was exactly the quality worth putting on armor. The kanji for centipede in Japanese is literally constructed from characters meaning 100 legs, and the creature's perceived qualities of resilience and forward motion without retreat made it a consistent symbol across centuries of military culture. In ancient Egypt, centipede imagery appeared in protective contexts, depicted as a creature that could ward off enemies. Aristotle described the creature in Historia Animalium, using the term Scolopendra for large specimens. Pliny the Elder wrote about them in natural history. The Romans who expanded the empire across unfamiliar terrain encountered enormous Scolopendra species and wrote about them with a mix of accuracy and mythologized exaggeration that makes their accounts interesting to read even now. The Navajo and Zuni traditions of the American Southwest describe giant centipedes emerging from the underworld as primordial creatures associated with the deep earth and ancient power. Zuni rock art in the upper Little Colorado River region includes centipede imagery in a shamanic context. The creature that appears on your bathroom wall at 2 in the morning has been in the symbolic vocabulary of human cultures across every continent for as long as those cultures have been leaving records. So what is it doing in your home, and what does that actually mean for you? The House Centipede's documented prey list reads like a list of everything you don't want living in your house. Cockroaches, including the nymphs, too small for most traps to catch, silverfish that feed on paper and fabric, bedbugs, termites, ants, spiders, earwigs, fleas, and fly larvae. It hunts all of them across the same dark spaces they use to move through your home, in the dark, on walls and ceilings, without making any noise, without leaving any mess. There is also a documented behavior worth knowing. When hunting is particularly productive, house centipedes will capture several prey items before stopping to eat, holding them pinned by multiple legs while eating others first. The animal is not constrained to one kill per outing. It can work an area with multiple targets and address them in sequence. This is the animal running through the gaps behind your kitchen baseboards at 3 in the morning. A pest control technician with a spray canister cannot access the inside of a wall cavity or the space behind baseboards at 3 in the morning. The house centipede lives in those spaces. It has been mapping your home's internal pest population for as long as it has been living there. And if you are seeing house centipedes regularly in multiple areas, that is diagnostic information. The centipede doesn't stay where there's nothing to eat. More centipedes means more prey. More prey means a pest population has established itself somewhere in your structure, possibly without any visible surface signs. Penn State Extension and integrated pest management resources consistently advise the same approach to house centipede populations. Do not treat for the centipede, treat for the conditions that attract the prey. Centipedes follow their food supply, reduce the food supply, and the centipede population adjusts downward without any direct intervention. The garden and soil centipedes you encounter outdoors belong to different orders and fill a different role. Geophilomorpha, the soil centipedes, are essentially harmless to humans and spend their lives in the top layers of soil, eating small insects, their larvae, and their eggs. Their burrowing behavior aerates the soil in ways similar to what earthworms do at deeper levels. Penn State Extension notes that centipedes are among the organisms whose presence indicates healthy, biologically active soil. A garden with soil centipedes is a garden with an intact predator layer at ground level. Their absence from a soil sample, like the absence of earthworms or beneficial bacteria, is a marker of depleted soil health. The broader ecological picture involves a pest regulation service that, like bats and dung beetles, has never been assigned a formal economic value the way honeybee pollination services have, but operates at real and continuous scale. Centipedes are present in virtually every terrestrial habitat on Earth. They are hunting insect and arthropod populations in forests, grasslands, agricultural fields, and suburban gardens with no maintenance required. They do not need habitat that was built for them. They find habitat in what already exists. Practically speaking, what do you actually do? If you find a house centipede in your home and cannot tolerate leaving it, a glass and a piece of cardstock will relocate it outside without any contact required. This is the best outcome. It removes the centipede from the space you share while keeping it alive to do its work in a different environment. If you find one and can bring yourself to leave it, understand that it is hunting prey you would not enjoy finding evidence of. The discomfort of seeing it is real. The work it is doing is also real. If house centipedes are appearing frequently in multiple areas of your home, treat that as the signal it is. Check for moisture sources, fix leaking pipes and dripping faucets, particularly in basements and bathrooms. The house centipede cannot survive without humidity, and neither can most of the pest insects it eats. Improving ventilation and reducing standing moisture addresses both the centipede's habitat and the prey habitat simultaneously. Seal gaps around baseboards, plumbing penetrations, and foundation cracks. Store food in sealed containers. These steps reduce the insect populations the centipede is feeding on, and when prey drops, centipede numbers follow. If you find centipede eggs in wall gaps or understored items, note that female house centipedes lay an average of 63 eggs per clutch, wrapping themselves around the clutch and guarding it through development. The presence of eggs indicates an established resident rather than a passing visitor, and it means the population is actively reproducing in your structure. This is a sign to accelerate the environmental modifications above rather than to reach for pesticide. Broad-spectrum insecticide applied in areas where house centipedes are active kills both the pest insects that attracted them and the centipede doing the hunting. For outdoor encounters with larger centipede species, particularly in southern states where Scolopendra species are present in gardens and under rocks, do not pick them up bare-handed. Scolopendra forcepules are capable of breaking human skin and delivering a bite that causes significant lasting pain. A large garden centipede is not dangerous to be near, it is dangerous to grab. The standard rule applies: observe from a distance, leave it to its work, and use gloves. If you need to move debris, it might be sheltering under. The creature that disappeared behind your bathroom cabinet at 2 in the morning was not a threat. It was a patrol running through spaces you cannot see into, hunting things you would not want to find. Its venom system is older than the first tree that ever fell. The name humans gave it translates literally from Greek as worm with many legs. The ancient world used that name for a sea monster. Samurai put the image on their armor. A Chinese pharmacopoeia prescribed dried specimens for epilepsy centuries before anyone knew what a neurotransmitter was. The animal on your bathroom wall carries all of that history, and almost nobody who reaches for something to kill it knows any of it. If you've had a centipede in your home, how did you deal with it? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.